Hey guys, welcome back to the Move, Lift, Explore podcast with Athletic Strength Club. I'm your host, Coach Rob Badstein. With me are my co-hosts, Coach Kyle and Coach Anthony. Thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to chat about body composition. So a little bit of nutrition and a little bit of training and how the two interplay together to achieve certain body composition goals. So we always get a mix of goals coming into the gym. Sometimes people want to gain weight, gain muscle. Sometimes people want to lose fat. And sometimes people just want to recomposition their body. They want to lose fat and gain muscle, but kind of stay the same weight. So there's all different things that come into play with this. And we're going to chat about this a little bit and see if we can provide some insights for you guys. So as I mentioned, you guys, I thought we'd start this off maybe chatting a little bit about our goals and what we're doing, how we're eating, how we're training, and how they come into play. I think I'll have Coach Anthony start here if you feel ready. What's your current body composition goal and how are you training? Maybe what's your training goal as well and how are you training to achieve that?
Yeah. So right now I'm really kind of happy with the way my body composition is. I'd like to stay within a few, and I always typically do stay within a few percentage of body fat from like 12. So, right now trying to main gain is I think what they call it these days. So kind of keep the body weight hovering around the same, put on a little bit of muscle, but also want to stay lean. So it's kind of, I always tell people you can't have everything, and I'm trying to have everything, but I'm 24. I got a pretty fast metabolism, and I eat generally very healthy. I'm generally very active, especially with an active job. So it's kind of easy for me. Typically the way I break it down every year is I will spend during the, once the weather is nice, spring and summer, I'm training those months just for speed, trying to get as fast and as explosive as I can. And I'll take the winter to kind of, emphasize more of that strength, and I'll get really into the Olympic lifts because I have a ton of fun doing that. So I would say, currently my goal for the winter is probably to put 10 pounds on my clean and my snatch. Always would like a big bench press. But as you get higher and higher in experience level, it's harder to come by, those, if I'm lucky if I put 10 pounds on in a year. Mm-hmm. So I've upped my frequency on the bench press to 3 times a week. Obviously not doing a crazy amount of work during those sessions, but, just kind of trying to be balanced and just get generally strong and robust. I find that when I'm doing a lot of Olympic lifts and I'm training heavy with my bench and my squat and stuff like that, my body just feels good. And I never have a fear of injury from lifting heavy weights. And, I just, the best word I could use to describe it is feeling robust and feeling like I could hop into any endeavor and, not have to worry about, things like injury, feeling like I'm kind of prepared for it, just kind of maintaining a good balance. I'm not playing any competitive sport right now or training for any competition. But I'm enjoying my training right now. And I think that's important to have is phases of the year where you just enjoy your training and you're not really, chasing any kind of significant goal. Like it's always good to have goals. I always have goals of, stuff that I want to hit for my lifts or my jumps and sprints and all that stuff. But, right now that's coming secondary to my enjoyment.
Yep. Nice. Yeah. How many days a week are you typically training?
Depends on the week. I try to go I feel at my best when I go 4 to 5, but during the summer I was going 2 to 3. So I'm kind of gradually bridging the gap between, being an everyday guy, because it does take a little bit to build up the work capacity to be an everyday guy. Like, so, right now I'd say I'm at kind of that 4 mark. Sometimes if I'm super sore, I'll knock it down to 3 just cause I'm pretty flexible. I could just say, hey, gonna bump this session in next week a little bit, because I am, every time I step in the gym, I try to train with a really high intensity, and then if I'm recovered the next day, then I'll go the next day. If not, then I'll take a day, or I'll do some restorative work. More of a, I like to do a lot of.
About to ask that.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll just come in the gym. I'll do mobility, isometrics. I'm a big fan of. because I think we get a lot of great flexibility from doing those extreme isometrics that I'm always doing.
Which great tendon resilience and connective tissue resilience too. Yeah.
So I could do a whole session where it's like monkey bars, isometrics, hangs, and then I'll hit some arms and I'll get out of there. And then the next day I'm feeling recovered. All right, time to lift heavy again. Nice. After that, might need a little bit more recovery. So I would say I'm at this point in my training, just because I'm trying to have fun with it. I'm like more flexible than ever, but I'm still making good progress. Good stuff. I'm happy with that.
Train hard, recover harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about, can you give a recall of maybe what you ate yesterday? Just because we're talking body composition, so we're talking nutrition a little bit. Sounds like you're mostly trying to maintain.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So
do you have any rough idea of calories? If you don't, it's okay, because not everybody does, but.
Not recently.
Okay. All good.
Yesterday, well, I've been having car trouble lately. So, and my family was on vacation. So it's been a little bit hectic for the past week. So I was kind of just spitballing as I went. I had, 5 eggs and 2 peanut butter and jellies in the morning. That was and then about an hour and a half later, I trained. Then I had a coffee, worked for about till like 8:30, got home and I was starving. So I had 4 hamburgers with buns. And then later on that night, I had 2 more peanut butter and jellies and a couple, probably 6 ounce pieces of chicken.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, it sounds like about about 6 different people eating, but yeah, that's what I ate yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got an idea of food. We got an idea of body composition goal. We got an idea of training. Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah. Anything else you want to add to that? Or I think that was a pretty solid summary.
Yeah, just taking my time to have fun with it.
Cool.
And I'm always exploring different ways to integrate. I'm running a program right now where all the Olympic lifts, all the bench press, the squat and the stuff I'm working with percentages and rep schemes that I've done with the past. But now I'm really having a good time messing around with my accessory movements and turning them into so I'll hit all my main moves and then the accessories I'll take maybe 20 to 30 minutes and I'll put them in, kind of like a 15 seconds of work, 45 seconds of rest type of thing. And that, not only makes the workout flow a little bit better, a little bit faster because I have that clock on me, but gets me a pretty good and intense challenge with, just staying up with that conditioning aspect of the workout, which I'm not touching generally in my main strength work that I do earlier. So I am getting a little bit of that. I'd say I'm very balanced right now and I'm exploring a couple different things. So.
Cool. Nice stuff.
Yeah.
Shoot, I had a question I thought of. I wanted to ask you. It's gone. How do you check so what's like you're maintaining? What's like do you do a daily check-in? Do you check your weight? Do you just look in the mirror and say like, okay, I look good? Or do you just like not worry about it? Cause you're eating right in your training and you're generally going to stay where you need to stay. So like, think of it as what's your general check-in for I'm maintaining?
Yeah. So right now it's the mirror check. I'll weigh in like once a week, but if I'm really dialed in on a goal, like either trying to lose fat or trying to gain muscle, then it's an everyday weigh-in.
Sure. Okay.
It's an everyday weigh-in, and I like to put the Excel graph and make a trend line and all that stuff. So if I'm really locked in on a goal, like say I want to put on 15 pounds over the next 4 months, then I will chart every single day. Right now, the mirror check, I'm happy with how I look.
You're maintaining, it makes sense.
Yeah, and I get an arm pump and it lasts for 3 days, so it's
nothing
can't
better.
complain. Yeah.
Nice. All right, Coach Kyle.
Yep.
What's your current goal, body composition wise, and what's your training look like? What give the people a picture.
I'm kind of in the same boat as Anthony. I'm on a 12-week program right now. I'm 8 weeks in. The first 6 weeks I started on a bulk. So I always go by my morning weight. Typically during the day, like after I eat and I'm hydrated, I'm about 5 pounds heavier. But morning weight, I started at 250. By week 6, I got up to about 257. So I was bulking, and like we talked about, I was feeling fatigued a little bit too much. It really wasn't feeling the best in my training. That was more of a secondary goal. My main goal is to get stronger in the power lifts. So bench, squat, deadlift. So I now halfway through my program, 6 weeks in, I dialed it back. Now I'm maintaining, I'm at like 255 right now and feeling good there. So I'm maintaining for the rest of this, at 255. What's next?
So I'll just get that. You basically do a daily weigh-in, kind of check out your weight.
Yep.
And yeah, when you were going for a little bit of bulk, you bulked up, got to 255.
That's right.
Still use a daily weigh-in to make sure you're maintaining.
Always. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm at about 3,500 calories right now. I was at about 41, during that bulk up. I'm down to 35, 36.
And that's
100
maintaining
calories.
you now?
That's my maintenance weight, maintenance calories to maintain 255.
Okay.
I'm at that 1 gram per pound body weight, like 250, 260 on the protein is where I hit. Typically around 100 to 110 on the fat. And then the rest is carbs, about 400 grams of carbs I try to get in.
Okay.
And that's what's got me feeling good during training. My training goals right now is I'm in week 8, so I'm getting ready to peak up for maxing out the 3, squat, bench, and deadlift. And yeah, when it comes to my weigh-ins, I weigh in every single day. And basically every day it kind of fluctuates, right? You might have a morning where I might be 255.5, where I'm 254.5, like in that pound fluctuating. As long as throughout the week I'm maintaining around there, it's never going to be the same. But I always wake up, go to the bathroom, and then I weigh myself before I drink any water, before I eat. I always get into the habit. And then I typically look at my weekly weight. That's where I really care about every day. It kind of, like I said, fluctuates, but my weekly weight is what I care about the most. And as long as that's maintaining, we keep that rolling up and through. But yeah, those are my goals. That's my body composition goals, is maintaining where I'm at.
How many training days are you doing a week right now?
I'm at 5 a week. I do Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday off. So that 5 day a week works pretty nice. When I was a little younger, I used to do 6. I actually have done 7 before for a while, where I just worked out that was when I was 15 or 16.
Yeah.
Nothing can break you.
We probably all
point.
have at one point.
But 4, I did 4 for a while. Most of this year, actually, I was just on the 4. I was on the upper, lower. But now I'm at 5. I needed that 1 extra day just for the mental. I wanted to be in the gym one more day. And I made it kind of more of a lowered kind of intensity day. It was more, I actually just added a back day pretty much, and just a pull day where I'm focusing just on pulling, the back, the biceps, that kind of thing. And especially for everything, to be honest, but having a big, strong back is important to be strong really on anything,
Absolutely.
So it's not super intense in the axial loading, but it's really good and just stimulating some muscle growth and feeling good in the mental, and then I hit a good rest day on my Wednesdays and back to it on Thursday.
Shout out to Coach JR. The first time I ever heard someone say the front muscles are for show and the back are for dough. I thought that was pretty funny back then.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing well, man. Okay. So we got 5 days a week of training. General goal is increase strength.
Yep.
You went for a mini bulk, but now you're maintaining body composition.
Yeah, my whole life, my whole goal has been getting stronger, but I also want to put on as much muscle mass too. I think a lot of people, some people don't really want to put on muscle mass. It varies, but for me, I want to put on as much muscle as I can and as much strength as I can. And it varies, when you're trying to get stronger, you have to eat a little bit more, maybe put on a little bit of fluff. Obviously something like I just said, maybe I got a little too much and I was like, I'm going to dial it back a bit, and you find that sweet spot. But when you're trying to get stronger, you have to definitely eat a little bit more, being really lean.
It helps.
It does not, being really lean does not at that point. Eating a little bit thicker definitely helps, and
should also mention, you've put on a nice frame for yourself over the past how many years since you've been training in general.
Like 10
so
total.
when you're bulking, it's a calculated one.
Right.
It's not like you're throwing stuff at the wall and
right. Exactly.
Plenty of experience,
Yeah, and typically in my day of eating, I like to get most of my food or my macros from real food. I have in the mornings, I typically have some yogurt with some granola, some chocolate chips I throw in there, and then I have my training session. And then after that, I get into a nice protein shake, put some creatine in there, and then I also have, with my protein shake, a bowl of Cocoa Krispies and some whole milk in there. That's been working.
Carbs.
It's been working real well for me post workout. I take a little bit of time, and then that's where I pig out pretty well. I have some steak. I've been on the pasta grind, like we talked about last one. Rice is always fine, but I got a little riced out. I was like, pasta has been working well for me.
Yeah.
And pasta's got some good protein in it too, so it definitely helps throwing a little extra in there.
Do the protein pasta?
No, just regular like penne is pretty much what I just boil up. And,
Have you ever tried it?
No.
Oh, I think it's really good.
I'll have to
I
give it a
enjoy
try.
lot. Yeah, it comes in the yellow box. It's Barilla protein. I like the elbows because I could eat it with a spoon and I don't have to chew them.
Nice.
Swallow them whole.
Yeah. Yeah, the protein pasta is really good. Do you do any sauce on your pasta or any?
No. So like my afternoon, I have flank steaks, my go-to. It's just lean. It's easy. It can always taste good. But then I have my pasta, and I usually have a banana with that. I get some fruit in there, and then my my dinner is chicken thighs. I usually have about 300 grams of chicken thighs, and then some more pasta with green beans. I throw in there about 100 grams of that, and then some. I use some ranch with that. That's always a good. That's a good dinner. It's always is nice. And the nice part about that, I can't stand my steak being like put in the fridge and then reheated again. I'm not a fan of it personally.
One of them.
Yeah,
So I like the fresh steak right off the grill.
Yeah.
I mean, that
and
is
then
the best time.
chicken, I can put that away for the rest of the afternoon, and then when I'm ready for my dinner, I throw that in the microwave and reheat it, and it tastes pretty good. Throw the ranch on it, and it's nice. So
what was that ranch story you were telling me the other day? I feel like this should be on the podcast. What happened?
Oh yeah, that was great.
You pouring ranch on something?
Yeah, no. So I ran out of ranch. So I'm sitting here and I have my chicken thighs, the pasta, green beans. I put it in the microwave, heat it up. I go to my fridge and there's no ranch. So I'm like, damn. I look around and I find some Caesar dressing. I'm like, all right, that could be possible. And the ranch has a little hole in the top and you squeeze it onto it and it goes. But the Caesar had a big hole and you dump it and it all falls out.
Yeah.
So I poured
Took
it.
a big dump on your chicken thighs.
Oh yeah. I put probably like 50 grams worth of Caesar in. Like it was everywhere. So I'm like, all right, maybe I can make this work. So I ate it all, and then I tried pushing some of the dressing to the sides and stuff. But I got to a point. I finished my chicken, finished the green beans, but I still had some pasta left, and I was Caesared out. I could not have no more.
You were Julius Caesar at that point.
Oh yeah. Rob, he brought some cookies. He gave some cookies to me. So I said, I'm gonna get rid of the pasta. I got rid of the rest of the pasta, and I ate a few cookies to get the carbs in for the day.
Cookie carbs is the best kind.
Cookies were good, man.
They go down easy.
They were good. You betcha. But
homemade's the best kind.
The best. Absolutely.
Good stuff.
I just thought of what I would have done is, did you have any like salad bags or lettuce in your fridge?
Maybe, but
what you could have done is you could have thrown the Caesar chicken in a Tupperware with a bunch of lettuce and like shook it up.
Yeah, made a salad.
And hopefully the lettuce would like take some of the Caesar away from the chicken.
Maybe next time if I ever run into that.
Well, it's not an emergency to have some dressing on your chicken, I guess.
No.
It's all right.
Yeah,
ranch would be preferred, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But,
yeah, I'm going to make sure I always have ranch in store.
Yeah.
So you're a ranch guy. You prefer ranch to blue cheese if you're having
I like
wings?
both, actually. Yeah, I don't mind
like both
either.
as well.
Yeah. I guess it just depends what flavor kind of wings I get on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Really. I think really hotter wings. I think I prefer blue cheese with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like more mild
Speaking
wings.
the right language.
I like both. I actually I like blue cheese more, I think, with my wings, but I like ranch more with like veggies and stuff like that. Like I'm not a fan of blue cheese really too much with the veggies, but that's usually how I roll when it comes to those two.
My wings are just straight hot sauce.
Yeah. You got to take, if there's a lot of people, particularly upstate, that will have the blue cheese ranch debate with you, and it seems like you're prepared with some solid opinions.
Yes.
If they ever come at you,
that's it.
You're experienced in the field.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like either one, man. I'm just straight. Put the hot sauce. I want it as hot as possible. I want to be sweating. I don't do any blue cheese,
take
no
the
ranch.
Route.
Do you pick the hottest one on the menu?
Usually, but it depends. I've been to some places where I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to.
Have you ever gone to Buffalo Wild Wings?
Yeah.
Have you had the hottest one that they do? That challenge?
Yeah.
I don't think
I'm not that. I'm not that brave.
No,
I'll get a really hot one, but I'm not brave enough to be like, all right, the employees are going to come over and watch me eat these 10 wings. And
if people are coming over to watch, I'm like,
this must be I'm just trying to have some food, guys.
Yeah.
There was a time in my life where I would go really, really hot. Like I would have some really. I might even have tried that, but not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Stomach is going to regret that, and I'm going to be pissed at myself later on. I'm not down with that now. But there was a time when I was younger, I was crushing hot wings all the time. I usually would get the hottest sauce. I would like smother them in sauce. I wanted extra sauce to dip them in.
Well, listen,
it was good
it's like
times.
any other aspect of life. If you got to challenge yourself.
That's right.
You got to challenge yourself.
Challenge myself.
That's where growth comes from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
How about your training,
What's
coach?
Let's see. Where should I start? So I'm going to start with this. Last year, I did an alumni race. First time I'd done it in a while. A girl I used to run cross country with reached out and was like, hey, do you want to do the alumni race? I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do that. So I run the race and I run like 21 something for 3 miles. And I got beat by like this girl who was like 60 something. And I was like, this is not going to cut it. So like, I just got really pissed off and I started running like after that. Started getting really into it. Yeah, I did. And I had a goal from like last year to like this year. I was like, all right, first of all, I got to get under 20 minutes again. And then I kind of wanted to get down below 18 minutes again. So I'm like kind of at the border of being under 18 minutes for a 5K run. Nice. But yeah, during that, I wasn't too worried about body composition. I just was, I don't know, I was just eating the same as I was. I had my food tracked, wasn't weighing in. And then at some point I looked down at the scale and I was like down to 180 from like 205. And I was like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. I was like, this was not the plan. So then I started tracking my food more. I upped it to like weight gain. And I was like, I got to at least get back to 190. Like I don't want to be this lean. Mm-hmm. I was pretty pumped as far as like, abs were probably, I think I got down to 10%, 9% body fat. Nice. I was like, all right, abs are killer, but like I'm way leaner than I want to be. So I went into, I like the carb nap, started tracking my food, got up to like 3,800 calories and made my way back up to like 180, 190, around 10, 12% body fat. But training wise, I've been training since then, or we're getting about to the year mark. I've been training 5 to 7 days a week, depending on how I feel. So 3 days are typically strength training, sometimes a 4th strength training day, and then 5 to 7 days of running as well. So yeah, I doubled down 3 days a week.
And you also did the 75 hard over the summer.
I did also do the 75 hard over the summer. Yes, that was intense, but I actually failed it because one, apparently you're supposed to take a progress photo every day. That didn't happen.
Nonsense.
That's the main thing everybody failed.
We saw you grinding. Everybody saw it.
I did get the 2 workouts a day every day for 45 minutes.
No, you're being humble, man. Nice. You crushed it.
There's one other thing I failed one time. I missed a workout one day. That's right. I think I told you guys about that. We're going to leave out the full story, but let's just say there was some drama with somebody in the neighborhood of the gym that made me miss a meal or a weigh-in or something. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, my mind was very distracted that night. I couldn't sleep that night. And I remember telling I'm pretty sure I told both of you guys that story. But like, we don't want to.
Can't blame you.
Yeah, we don't want to go anywhere negative.
We'll brush past that.
Yeah, we don't want to go anywhere negative.
You've also been running some races.
Yep. I ran 3 Spartan races this summer. I didn't do any 5 or 10Ks like I was planning to, but 3 Spartan races, which was awesome. Got the victory in one in the open heat. Got 25th, I think, in the super race, Spartan Super in Pennsylvania, which was like 3,000, 4,000 feet of elevation gain. That I was sore for 5 days. It's the first time that's happened in years. And then I took 10th place in the most recent Spartan Sprint, the Elite Heat.
Yes, sir. There we go.
Yeah, I was amped about that. 34 minutes, yeah.
So what are your calories? What are your calories like?
Calories right now, I upped them to 4,000 because I'd like to get back up to 194, 195. So 4,000 calories. I'm eating about 205 grams of protein a day, 415 grams of carbs, and 187 fats, if I remember correctly. So for
me, an active guy right there. That's why he's got to eat that much.
Need a lot of calories. Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, we have an active job, and like I'm there a lot. I typically walk like 12 to 15,000 steps just at work. And then you throw on the runs and I'm pushing 20 to 26,000 sometimes. Yeah. Some days are only like 18, 19,000 steps a day. Some are 25, 26. But yeah, breakfast. So a lot of people give me flack on this because like I just don't eat breakfast foods. I've gotten so used to it. Like years ago, I remember thinking like, if I'm tied to breakfast foods, I'm just not going to achieve the goals I want. So like, I don't care. I eat leftovers for breakfast all the time. Yeah. Like I woke up today, I had like 250 grams of pasta. I had 260 grams of chicken breast, and I had 30 grams of that mayo I sent you guys. Chosen Foods Classic Mayo. It's made with avocado oil, I believe, but it's delicious. Mix that up. I kind of made like a chicken pasta salad type mixture, and then I had a plate of broccoli slaw, which has like olive oil in it, and a mixture of vegetables. That was delicious.
Well, I think that's a great point because like you removed yourself from the box of like I have to do this or I have to eat this. You know, it's you figured out what works for you, which is kind of what we were talking about last week. Is just finding sustainable habits and then sticking with them.
Exactly right.
You
And
know,
I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly kind of why I said it that way. Like so many people are just like, you're not having breakfast for breakfest. And it's like, I mean, if I like the food, why do I need to eat breakfast foods? Yeah. Who made up the rule?
Call the police on you.
That's it. I've been arrested before.
We'll
go into that another time.
You're going to get a knock on your door at 5 in the morning.
Might have to edit that part out, but I'm all right with being out there. It's public knowledge. You can look it up.
But one quick thing to touch on too, before I forget about it, is like the sustainability part of it, but like getting into the routine of like eating things. When you want to change your body composition, some people, they go off the walls to go one way. Let's say if they gain some weight they want to lose, they go off the walls to try to lose weight and it ruins their whole routine. Instead, find a routine, and that way, like we were just saying earlier, it's like all you have to do is take some minor changes out of your diet.
Yes.
If you want to cut, if you find your maintenance level and let's say you gained a little bit, take 500 calories out, you know, just eat a little bit less of what you're typically eating and stay right in your routine.
Yeah.
You know, and that's very easy to change which way you want to go with your composition and
100%.
stuff, but keeping it the same that you've been doing.
Yeah. Especially when you're tracking. I mean, if you're tracking like measurable, like in an app like I'm doing, super easy. You can not put it in and then you see, oh, my calories are down. And then you track your weight. Like, okay, my weight went down.
Right.
There we go. Goal achieved. But that's also, we kind of have the habits dialed in. It's a lot different when you're first working on those habits.
Right.
Yeah.
Which might be an interesting thing to veer off of. But I guess anything else I need to finish. So I strength train 3 days a week. I'm basically just trying to maintain as far as strength goes. Like I'm not too worried about, I got so into that running goal that I kind of was just like, I'd like to maintain some semblance of strength. I'd like to maintain mobility. And I'd like to feel healthy and otherwise, like I'm basically chasing that running goal right now. I still, maybe wintertime's coming. I got that next alumni race is coming up in a couple weeks. Extremely disappointing. I found out they changed the course this year. So now I don't get to defeat my time last year. I have to go to another course. But I still think I'll be good at breaking that 18-minute mark, which I'll be happy with that, you know?
Now that it's getting cold out, no more Spartans for the year? Or not in the plans at least? Yeah. Next year?
So part of me, like I wanted to do the Beast this year. I was going to do it with G, but sister-in-law's getting married, so I had to skip the Beast in Killington. And then otherwise it's like California, they're just so far. And like I got a wife and a baby. I don't know how I'm pulling that off, you know? I'm not going to California this year.
But that's obviously those events you were training hard for those as well. And I mean, you didn't have much because I was nipping at your heels. I was close behind you when you finished that first Spartan race.
I felt you right there. I felt you breathing down my neck.
I'm just kidding. I was like an hour and a half behind. He was waiting for an hour and a half after.
It was good.
Extenuating circumstances.
You lost your shoes, man. I mean, I gave you so much credit. You finished without shoes. That was one of the craziest. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea to ditch the shoes. Oh man, they were stuck. You said they were stuck.
They were. Yeah, it was silly. But I had a preconceived notion in my head because I don't know, like maybe a month before that, I had gotten the idea in my head that like, oh, I like training barefoot now. I'd never done it before. And then I had said it to people within like the weeks before. I was like, imagine if I ran the Spartan race barefoot. And then I actually wound up doing it. And I was like, that was a horrible idea. It's just not good.
First time running barefoot. Let me do a Spartan race. Why not?
This particular run, I mean, the mud was knee deep the entire time.
It was ridiculous.
But it was also a good experience because I'll just show up to things. You know, if we make a plan, like I didn't look into it that much. I was like, I'm just going to show up and do it. Yeah. So I was like, once the shoes were out of the picture, I was like, well, I'm already here. I still got to do it. No matter, I just got to cross the finish line. Yeah. I don't care how long it takes.
You just got to get it done. That's all that matters. Yeah. That's funny.
It was.
That's good stuff though. To like, you're like, I'm gonna try a challenge I've never done before. Like, I just think it's a good thing for everybody.
It was difficult. I learned some stuff about myself. Yeah. There was some things that I thought I would be a little bit better at that I wasn't. Yeah. Like I thought I was gonna crush doing the rings across the bars. I did ring monkey bars. I wasn't so good at those. I wasn't so happy with that performance. I was happy with my rope climb. I was practicing that one. I was happy with my stone carry. Nice. So you learn, where some of your strengths and weaknesses are, and then you could implement that into your training a little bit.
Yep.
just by doing something random.
That's a part of why, yeah. And it's like, in a sense, it's a test. Like, it's not exactly
Yeah.
a test, but it's like, okay, I'm going to test myself. I'm going to see what happens. And then, yeah, all of a sudden you might fire something up new in your brain. You're like, wow, I don't like that I'm bad at this or this. And
Yeah.
like, let me go to work on these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes me want to do something else too. 'Cause it's like, like that's why I was like talking to you guys about the Deca or like the High Rocks. I'm like, yeah, maybe we can get a team. Like, we could throw something together interesting, or even if it's people at the gym, whatever.
Yeah. Imagine us
or
two
find some
running
other
laps
challenge.
around the challenge.
Dude, so
doing
the Deca
my
has
God.
one with no running involved. That I was like,
really?
oh, maybe they'll want to do this one.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It still has some tough
I'll hit a
things,
swift
but-
lineman jog. That's
Yeah.
what I like to call it. You know?
The waddle.
I got two speeds: very slow or all out.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Yep.
That's good.
Yeah.
So we need some sprints for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you give me that, I'll be good. But I'm gonna look like I'm about 100 pounds heavier than I am if you have me run it like an 8-minute mile pace.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So we're talking body composition. What else did I want to get into here today? Actually, let's go back. Let's talk about the habit building that we mentioned briefly. So,
Yeah.
like, we might have touched on it earlier, but let's say, what was the first body composition goal you could think of that you had, and how did you start it? I'm gonna start with Kyle this time. I think the first time you were young and you wanted to change your body composition, what was that goal, and how'd that come about?
Yeah, I think it kind of I've always been the same pretty much, even when I really started. The first thing I can really think of, I'll go even way farther back. In third grade, I'd go into school, and my aunt, she was a teacher there. I'd go in early with her, and she always had a scale in the one room, like the back closet or something she had in her classroom there.
Okay.
And me and my cousin would be playing around, and it's like 30 minutes before school starts, throwing a ball or whatever. That's why we'd go back there and see the scale. So I'd always step on the scale. I remember in like third grade, I was like 125, 130 pounds. I remember from that point moving forward.
In third grade?
Yeah.
Were you a
I'm
were you a
over here
bigger
like,
kid? Or-
No, yeah, I was just, that's
You were
where I was
dense.
at. Yeah.
Dense like you are now.
So as I come through, and by the time I was a freshman, I remember that's where I really took off with where my weight was. I was about 150 during football season. I was probably a little bit heavier before it started, but as the season went on, I definitely lost a little bit and just was definitely in a leaner body composition during the season.
Mm-hmm.
But I remembered really freshman year, that's when I was like, I want to gain weight for the next season. And every single season after that, I would always look at the scale, and I always just wanted to go on this gradual incline of just gaining weight.
Mm-hmm.
I necessarily didn't really care too much. I was always lean, especially because I was playing basketball, football, and I was always
High school athlete.
Yeah, so I was definitely on the lean side. But I always wanted to gain up. So like sophomore year, I remember I was during football. It was always by football season too, is when I always remember these numbers. But sophomore year, I was like 165. And then the year after, for my junior year, I was about 185. And then senior year, I was 215. That's where I put on some big ones. But yeah, that's kind of, I've always been the same way, even after football was over, gaining weight gradually like that, slowly being like, all right, what's my next milestone goal weight that I want to be at? But I always want to make sure that I'm on that somewhat lean side. You know, I never want to put on crappy weight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like what I was saying earlier with, I was gaining on this bulk. I got to that point where I necessarily wasn't putting on crappy weight, but I was just at the point of like, I really am not feeling the best I can feel right now. So I dialed it back, and being at 255 right now, I feel like I'm continuing the trend I've always been on of staying in that body composition that I feel the best at performance wise. And then slowly growing up and through, honestly, that 1% kind of every week or so on a bulk is where I like to be at gaining weight wise. 1% of your body weight is where I like, they always say a slow cut, but you also need a slow bulk. A fast bulk, you're putting on a lot of fat. Slow cut, a fast cut, you're losing a lot of muscle. So it goes the same both ways, and that's how I've always been. And my biggest thing always is performance. That's kind of my way of measuring, even putting on muscle size. You can't really directly tell. Within a month, you can see yourself over years that you put on muscle, but it's hard to really tell. But the one way I always tell is performance. There definitely becomes a point where newbie gains aren't a thing anymore, and you getting stronger is you putting on muscle and you getting stronger neurologically too. But that's always been the way that I have been with my body composition. As those have always been my goals. Is like, what's the next weight? Like for me right now, within the next few years, I want to get up to like that 270 mark, where I'm at now though, within maybe the next 3, 4, 5 years, somewhere in there. And that's going to take nice and slow, but those are my goals, is slowly gaining up. And, I've never really done a true cut when it comes to really trying to cut down body fat, because my main goal has always been strength. And
same here.
When cutting is cool and stuff, but I do feel myself getting weaker, and maybe to other people's standards, my weak side is still very strong. But like to me, being a lot weaker kills my mental,
Strength is your goal. Then what are you doing?
I always like feeling good in the gym, and the moment that those hard cuts, it's not my main goal, So, that's my body composition goals and journeys where I was at when I first started.
So you say you want to get big and jacked and ripped, but is there ever a point where you can foresee in the future, potentially being like, hey, I don't need any more than this, or obviously you're still a young guy. You got a lot of room to grow.
If you hit 300 pounds, you were still strong. Would you be like, I'm kind of big?
It's hard for me to say. I would have to be there, and I could, one day in the future,
see
I can
how
tell
your performance is, your movement is, how you feel.
Yeah, I mean, even where I'm at right now at 255, like I still feel like how I have in the past. Obviously, I'm not playing the competitive sports I was playing, but like I have definitely put on size and strength, but like I really don't feel any different athletically than what I was when I was younger. You can definitely feel it sometimes when you're doing certain types of movements, but it's like, for example, the other, like a week or two ago, I was outside in the driveway and I randomly looked at my basketball rim and I'm like, I wonder if I can still grab the rim. And I jumped up and grabbed the rim, and I'm like, I haven't done that in years, but I still do it 30 pounds heavier probably than the last time I ever did that, so I still feel like I have that athletic side still. I don't think that really is ever good. The moment I feel like that leaves me, that's probably where I'm like, all right, maybe I'm a little too heavy right now. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of my training is around what I've always been that way. Even when I was playing sports, I train the same way as how I used to train when I was younger, so I feel like I keep a lot of that, just through like muscle memory. So,
and now you've just increased your outputs like crazy,
That's, like I said, back to your question, maybe there's a time where I'm like, all right, I don't need to get any heavier or something. I don't know. That's I don't know.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. Yeah. Maybe one day 300 pounds could be possible, like a big old bulk. Maybe I'll put on a little extra size, but it might never be necessary. Time will tell.
Have you reached 260 yet, or did you stop short of it?
Well, like I said, morning weights, I can't recall really there might be a time where I was 260 morning weight one time, but 257, but during the day, that whole bulk, I was over 260.
Yes.
Yeah.
And did you feel like you might have a chance to beat up a UFC fighter in a street fight? No. Yes. All right. I was hoping so. Yeah. You might have had to have a talk if that was the case.
Different skill set. Different skill set.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's it. What about you?
Yeah. Well, I was a runner, so I was skinny as hell. I don't even remember my high school weight. You're over here. I'm like, this guy remembers his like third grade weight, his freshman year. So I was like, I don't know. Maybe I remember
mine too.
You remember all of them?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I think maybe I was 150 when I was a senior, and I was like 6'1". I was like a twig. So like, once I like stopped running and started to be like, I need to gain weight. Like I just wanted muscle mass, So then first thing was like, I don't think about protein at all. As soon as I started to hear about that, it was like, okay, I need to eat protein. I need to eat protein as often as possible. So basically I was on the 6 meal a day thing, 5-6 meals a day, like 3 main meals. Actually, no, I was eating literally 6 meals a day. Some of them would be maybe a little bit smaller. Like by a hero, half of it was one meal. The other half was another meal 2-3 hours later. I was definitely eating every 2 to 3 hours.
Good strategy.
It worked really well when I was like 18, 19. But still, I feel like I wasn't even like tracking weight. I was just like eating and looking in the mirror and like, okay, I look a little bigger. And then, at some point, I feel like maybe the next weight I remember is like me being 22 or 3 and rock climbing and like hitting 180 something and being like, okay, rock climbing helped me gain some weight too. Cause I don't know.
Still eating a lot. Probably definitely helps you build some muscle.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I mostly did bouldering, which is like more like power moves. Like you have to jump. And
I've seen people do that.
Oh, dude, I loved bouldering. Like I need to get back one day. Like I always think about it. Like I loved it. I actually thought about that with you guys. I was like, I wonder if they'd ever like going down there, rip the climbing gym.
Oh, I would do that
definitely try
100%.
it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It's not far. It'd be a fun little Saturday.
I would
adventure.
definitely
Hell
try
yeah.
it.
Yeah, so cool. All right, good. We're
And
doing
then
that.
maybe
Mark it down.
that could be an ASC goal, is to get a rock climbing wall in the facility.
Ooh, nice.
So obviously, I never told you guys this story. I have climbing grips at home, and I was like, can I put that back corner where the Kaiser is?
Yeah.
I wanted a rock climbing wall there, like just a little bouldering wall,
Oh,
would be
yeah,
like
yeah.
10 feet, 11 feet tall.
Mhm.
But I was just like, I don't know if I could do this. Like, it's going to take up a lot of space. It has to go. It just wasn't going to work. you know?
Oh, okay.
So next time we have a slightly bigger facility, it's definitely in the cards.
That's it.
Like,
Yeah.
Future.
you know, I also think my waiver needs to change, and we're going to have to worry about certain things. But anyway, yeah. So basically, that was like my first real body composition goal. I never thought about when I was younger. I definitely was like skinny fat 7th, 8th grade when I was playing too many video games and not active enough. And then, you know, running 6-7 days a week got me super skinny and lean. And you get older and you're worried about girls and you're too skinny, then you're like, I need to eat more food and put
Yeah.
some muscle on,
Yep.
you know? But
You can never win. There's so many societal pressures. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yep.
You know.
yeah, when you're young, it's tough too because exactly societal pressures, like
Yeah.
peer pressures, like eventually you like stop caring about certain
Right.
things and you're just
That's-
like, I just want to be happy with myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know?
And when you learn to do that, you really learn to kind of enjoy the training more because
Yes.
you're not focused on gaining acceptance from other people.
Exactly.
You
right.
know.
Yep. You just look in the mirror. Am I happy with myself? And if not,
Yeah.
what do I want to change about
And
myself?
that's why I try to tell a lot of the kids that train with me, I'm like, the only thing that matters is effort and attitude,
Mhm.
you know, because there's so many things that, you know, we can control what we can control, but there's so many things that are out of your control. Just we train for performance. If you put in your best effort and attitude, you got nothing to regret, you
Mhm.
know.
Exactly.
The
That's
pipes like we
100%
talked
true.
about on the first podcast.
Yep.
You know.
If you're putting that in, like you're going to get where you want to be.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit your goals.
Mhm.
How about you, Coach Anthony? It's your first thoughts on body composition.
I
First story.
actually forgot to
we went
mention
into
this
a little bit
last
once, but-
week. Yeah, we talked about this last week. There was a critical part of the story I forgot to mention. So I'm a 9-10-year-old football prodigy, and that was actually my first experience with weight cutting. I had to lose, you know, I was, like I said last week, I was a bigger kid, and I weighed in at 110, and I think at this point I was 10 years old. And I had to cut down. I had a summer to cut down to 90 pounds to play football for Pop Warner because they used to have weight limits.
Mm.
So there was a range of kids. I think the bottom limit was 65. So we had kids stepping on the scale before the game with rocks in their pockets to make
Jesus.
weight.
Yeah.
And then I was on the other end of the spectrum with two other kids that played with me who are like, we were starving ourselves. We would go to this rich guy's house and sit in the steam room at 10 years old before games to sweat it out.
Wow.
And then my parents would be waiting for me. I'm so hungry. Like I'm like delirious and they're
Yeah.
waiting with donuts after the weigh-in. So that might have had an impact on my future
Yeah.
kind of, you know, body composition fluctuations and the drastic weight loss and weight gain. But really when I got my habits locked in and learned how to formulate the proper habits to make progress the proper way, because it was essentially my weight cut when I was 10 years old, and it was either starving myself or when I would go to McDonald's, I'm getting like a spicy chicken salad instead of a happy
Double burger or something,
instead
yeah.
of 4 Happy Meals.
Yeah.
But second obligatory JR shout out of the podcast. He's come up in all 3
We're gonna have to
podcasts.
send that to you, man.
He's an important guy. He
is.
but
He is indeed.
so, you know, I went to him with my food journal when I started doing nutrition with him. And, he, you know, like I said last week, he said, get all this junk out of there because all you're eating is junk.
Mm.
So I replaced those with real foods, protein sources, and, you know, started to, you know, my mom was a big help. I really do have to thank my parents. My parents still cook me delicious and healthy meals. That's a note to all the athletes. If your parents cook for you, please thank them. Yeah, so my mom was a huge help, helping me with lunches when I was in high school, making sure that I had snacks to eat throughout the day, and really just staying consistent on that is what led to, you know, my big weight jumping, or that first big, you know, spike of progress when I was in high school and I really started to build muscle, was because I had that conversation with JR, and he's like, you cannot eat like this. You have to hear, you know, he had a packet he used to have this thick packet that he used to give out to people who would do nutrition with
I
him.
remember that packet.
And there would be just a ton of examples of healthy options. And, I'm pretty sure some information on, like, this is 10 years ago, so I don't remember the exact information that was on it, but probably on macros and
Definitely.
calories.
That was in
And
there.
And, so that really helped me learn about the habit forming process and, how you should be eating if you have a goal. And how you can kind of systematically attack that.
Nice.
I would say that was a pretty influential experience.
Sounds great. Good story.
Yeah.
I should tell you, I reached out to Coach JR. I was like, hey, man, you want to be a guest on a podcast one time? And he was like, oh, yeah, man.
That'd be awesome.
I was like, yeah, we'll get him on that screen right there in front of us, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. So I don't even, Kyle, have we ever talked about JR? But
No.
he was, before I was there, Believe was the place. Coach JR ran it. He's moved down south, and that's basically why Athletic Strength Club exists.
That's how Rob and I met.
Yeah, that's how we met.
Yeah.
That's it.
Nice.
Yep. That's how I met Coach Miles, and
Yep.
why Coach Miles was there. So yeah, so you'll have to have some questions if we pop them on.
Absolutely.
Sure you'll have some since you don't know him as well. That'll be good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Quick side note. I know earlier, 5th grade, I was 125, not 3rd grade, 5th grade.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Not that it matters
All right.
much, but I wanted to talk quick
It matters.
about like body composition in different sports, and maybe for some of the athletes, and then maybe our adults.
Yes.
As we get up into some
Good
older
topic.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
like
Good
what,
topic.
What body compositions are best. Maybe it's definitely an individual topic. I think everyone functions at different body compositions, but like, what are your ideal thoughts on certain sports?
That's good.
For athletes. Let's start.
Let's talk.
Maybe
first,
maybe we start with the older.
I like the generality because we kind of talked about this one day. But so generally for guys, between 10 and 20% is like your healthy range. So if you're over 20%, you're a little bit above healthy range. If you're under 10%, you're a little bit below healthy range, right? You can go too far in the opposite direction too. For ladies, it's typically 10% higher than that, 20 to 30%, 18 to 28%. I've seen some debate on that. So basically you're looking to be that. For most athletes, we want them to be right in the middle of the mark, 15%, depending on what level they're at. High school guys, 15% is usually pretty good, but high school guys tend to be leaner too. So 10, 12, 8, 9% is not unheard of for those young high school athletes.
Obviously, I think we know the repercussions of being too heavy or too much, too high on the percentage scale. But what are some, for the people that don't know, what are some problems being too lean? Like, why is it bad to be too lean? Just maybe everyday life, but sports too.
Yeah. Less robust.
Lower energy. Lower energy levels. Mess with your
Female
hormones a little
athlete
bit.
triad is a big one where we start to see
menstruation.
Yeah. So loss of the menstrual cycle is the, a big red flag that, either a female athlete is overtrained or under eating or under recovered.
Or all three.
We start to see, the bones physically get weaker. They start to experience osteoporosis, and there could be, some serious issues that can be lifelong for that. So, as particularly coaches have to be very mindful of how you address female athletes, because I know that we're doing better as a society of being considerate of framing these things in the right way as to not cause severe damage to these girls, but it has been a problem, and it's something that we as coaches have to be aware of. Yeah,
especially I mean sport dependent too. Some of those sports where you're really supposed to be like a skinny girl or like super lean, like dancing and stuff like that. That can be tough.
Yeah, and it could be devastating, not just physically, but also mentally.
Yep, for sure. And it could take years to recover from it, and therapy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I think the concept of like thinking about fueling your body like an athlete is a better way to think about it. I think it applies to adults and kids. It's like you're trying to provide the right fuels and the right raw materials essentially to build muscle and maintain bone density and just perform.
Yeah.
Right? All the above.
On this topic, I mean, I'm going to put out a PSA: strength and athleticism over everything, all the time. Very important.
I like that.
But my PSA is to the parents out there who have young kids that are a little bit overweight, and particularly I'm talking about football. Sometimes you see it with wrestling. They're like oh, he's a hog. He's a lineman. It is not okay for your kids to be fat and obese. Okay. You might think that he's going to the NFL because he's big and he's heavy and he's in 9th grade and he beats
Right.
up on kids that are 100 pounds. I promise you, the linemen in the NFL are not fat. They carry a little bit of extra body fat, but they are some of the most elite athletes on the planet. They have the quickest feet. I mean, they are at a healthy. They're at a healthy body fat.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at. I think of the Giants left tackle Andrew Thomas. This guy's 315 plus pounds, probably about 6'5". But you look at him, he is pure muscle. He does not even have a belly. You know, and I think that's a misconception, particularly in the football world, is like, these linemen are hog mollies. You just got to work them hard and, fatten them up, let them eat their ribs. No, really good linemen are really good athletes that just so happen to be bigger guys.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. They are not a fat kid that somehow got athletic along the way. That doesn't typically happen.
Yeah.
At least successfully.
I can't recall if I read or listened to it, but they talked about how there were certain coaches who felt they should get them as heavy as they could, and they hit a certain point, and they were like, "Oh no, this is too heavy."
Tony Howard talks about that.
Oh, that was Tony
Yeah,
Howard.
well,
Okay.
so
athleticism was falling off, and they needed to.
It's
drop
the difference
weight.
between you have the hog mentality versus big cats.
Yeah.
You know,
Big,
that's what he
strong
calls them.
cats.
He goes, your linemen should be big cats.
Yeah.
They should be able to throw, put them in a track meet. They'll throw the shot put and maybe, do
Fast,
it.
powerful,
Yeah,
athletic.
Strongman is another one that people see. This is just another topic, like a sport that you see guys that are
Big.
on TV that are huge, right? And you think, they're just big fat guys, but like these guys are 400 pounds and they're at like 18% body
Exactly
fat.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They still
These
have a low
guys
percent body
are
fat.
huge,
They're
like
huge.
they're huge people,
Yeah.
And same thing regarding the football and stuff. So yeah, it's much more important about body composition and, being strong and building the size with some muscle mass too, NFL linemen aren't fat guys,
they're not.
They are
They carry a
very big
little bit
guys.
of extra body fat.
And it's important for that position, honestly, because you're taking
They're gonna anchor
hits
down.
every single play. Having a little extra on you is going to help protect you a little bit more.
It's also just physics. Like bigger mass is harder to move.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
You don't wanna
Exactly.
move.
Exactly.
And Tristan Wirfs ran a 4.8, 4.85.
These guys can fly.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
there's the
that's
classic with,
faster than anybody you know in your personal life.
Larry
Like,
Allen's a classic back in the day. This guy
hawks somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he chases down a defensive back. It's crazy speed, crazy
So
athleticism.
don't think just because these guys are big, they are big athletes. They are athletes that just so happen to be 6'5". All right. You don't get fat and then become athletic. That's not really how it works.
Exactly.
Good stuff, guys. I think we got to wrap up on that point. So thank you guys for listening. Remember to like, subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Thank you to Coach Kyle and Coach Anthony for joining me.
Thank you.
I hope you guys enjoyed this one.